A hooded man ascends a snow-covered mountain and makes his way toward a crumbling castle while exhaling heavily. He passes through the gates and sees some creatures fixing the area, which makes him think of the bloody battle he fought with them. The demon queen Echidna and her elite four are waiting for him in the destroyed throne room, so he continues on his journey there. But when the man reveals himself to be Leo Demonheart, the hero who defeated the demon army, the queen is in for the shock of her life. And no, he is not present for a rematch. He's here to get a job. Yes, Leo wants to join the ranks of the demons. Although one of the Elite Four appears to be pretty pumped to see Leo, the Elite Four are stunned by his announcement. And just like any other qualified applicant, he hands them his resume. He is capable of doing anything. Excellent swordplay, holy magic, and magic. Leo also brags about defeating Queen Echidna one-on-one, which naturally irritates the queen. After that, he attempts to persuade them that he can help the demon army make up for their losses because it was he who initially caused them. Leo concludes his speech with the certainty that he will be accepted. However, Queen Echidna just burns him to ashes, so the joke is on him. Even after presenting them with statistical studies, he keeps making an effort to persuade them, but the queen just burns him to a crisp. Once more. However, how did all of this beef start? Echidna oversaw the demon army's assault on the human world a year ago. The Knight of the Kingdom and other elites from various cities set out to defeat the demon army. The knight was unmatched. He was a killing machine who was a master of both magic and weaponry. His talent made the other members of his party burdensome because, in contrast to him, they couldn't do everything. As a result, he ultimately traveled alone and defeated the demon army by himself. Leo Demonheart, who is currently pleading to join the defeated army, is the same person. He turns to the Elite Four and begs them for an audience because the queen won't budge. Since he is so powerful and doesn't require any ineffective teammates to save the world 5 times over, he wonders why on earth they would reject him. The Red Roar Dragon General, Edvard, responds that it likely stems from his personality. General Lily of the Ruthless Fang Beast responds in kind, saying that Leo has changed. Melniz, the Shadowless General from Invisible Blade, corrects Lily's enthusiasm. Leo then remarks on the diversity of the Elite Four. As their meeting drags on, Sorcerer General Shutina requests that Leo get right to the point. The former hero responds that he wants to give them a presentation in his calm and self-assured manner. He believes that by showing how he defeated each of them, he will atone for his problematic personality. Edvard laughs loudly, remarking that it's been a long time since he's suffered defeat in a confrontation. Edvard considers it admirable that he was able to defeat a formidable foe, whereas Shutina disagrees that a defeat ought to be celebrated. Leo refers to Edvard as the strongest of the four because of his physique and the fact that he was the first of the Elite Four to battle him. Leo concentrated more on magic than sword fighting because Leo's dragon scales made him more difficult to defeat. Leo might have lost if Edvard hadn't engaged in a fair fight and taken a straightforward fighting strategy. Edvard is a serious contender for world ruler, but he prefers to use his sword to battle powerful opponents. Additionally, he wouldn't have had time to speak with his adored daughter Julieta if he were king. But because Melniz is a hater, he disparages Edvard when it comes to his daughter, claiming that going alone would prevent him from developing meaningful friendships. Leo corrects the other general and defends Edvard by saying that Melniz, who is glum and brooding, probably doesn't even have friends. Melniz impressed Leo when he had the chance to challenge him. Melniz, a half-human, half-demon who had been raised by the Assassin Guild, was a formidable foe thanks to his stealth and agility. If they had fought for another 5 minutes, Leo would have lost. Instead of moving quickly, he strengthened his defense and cast the illegal spell Crimson Comet. The guild they were in was destroyed in the attack, angering the locals as it was a place of cultural significance. After defeating Melniz, Leo encountered Lily most strangely. She was lost when he discovered her and had the appearance of one. The girl had no recollection of anything. He assisted her in calming down out of sympathy, but after clumsily tripping on level ground, Lily regained her memories. When the Beast General attacks him, she is dealt a tush, as you might have guessed. Unfortunately for Leo, losing to the other gender in her race meant meeting their partner by chance. She, therefore, decided to propose to Leo there and then. Shutina, the one with the most magical power among them, was the last general Leo had to fight. Every spell imaginable, ancient, forgotten, you name it, she has mastered. Leo decided to cast an old spell that would block Shutina's and his magic, forcing them to fight in close quarters. Kind of. Shutina is terrible at physical contact, so she only hit Leo for a couple of minutes before wailing inconsolably. Finally, Shutina commands Leo to get right to the point. Why is he, the great hero, there for a job interview? This equally pitiful montage comes to an end at that point. Everyone is waiting for Leo's response as he goes through some difficult memories. Leo returned to the holy city of Renea anticipating a hero's welcome after defeating Queen Echidna in battle. But the king gave him neither applause nor benevolent rewards. He wasn't even thanked for helping. What he got was that he was shunned by everyone and treated like a murderer. All of them were hostile toward and terrified of their supposed hero, the man who successfully repelled the demon army's forces by himself. Who else but a monster could accomplish that, right? How can they have faith that Leo won't use the same hand that saved their world to destroy it? The people Leo risked his life, for now, view him as the upcoming Demon King. They all concurred that he needed to be banished before harm could befall him. Even assassination attempts were made against him, which only made him more frustrated. He crushed everyone who even dared to try with ease tinted with fury. The king quickly called him, and even though he acknowledged that Leo's leadership made it possible for them to keep the Philosopher's Stone safe, he couldn't ignore the populace's cries for his exile. Leo accepted this and departed the ungrateful nation, wondering, why? Why did he put his life in danger to defend this planet? Why did he spend so much time making himself into a hero? He wandered between various cities because he felt like everything was pointless. But one day, he heard rumors that the demon army was enlisting recruits to help them replenish their numbers. Leo believed that the demon army is the only place where he will be understood and accepted as people mock the demon kingdom and their queen. He spent the entire night considering how he should introduce himself and make his case after being inspired by a new sense of purpose. He completed all the reports, traversed the snow-covered mountains, and passed by the endless desert. The reproachful Leo concluded his tale with the words, "If the world wants to kill me, then I'll kill the world instead." The generals finally accept him now that they understand where he is coming from. But Shutina will serve as his immediate supervisor during his probationary period. The Elite Four will persuade Queen Echidna to accept Mr. Demonheart if he can demonstrate successful and measurable results during his probationary period. If not, they'll want to see him leave through that door, baby bye-bye. Additionally, he must conceal his identity using magic or any other means necessary so that the queen won't be aware of his presence. Simple things, but the lengthy list of tasks he must assist with, and boy, is it long, is anything but straightforward. Lily cheerfully quips that she is struggling as well because she is in charge of the logistics for the army. "Excuse me, ma'am." The other generals blithely act as though they are unaware of Leo staring at them in disbelief as Leo is shocked by this. They gave a youngster who trips on flat surfaces the most crucial task. But he shouldn't be one to whine since Leo is to blame for everything. Leo also has another objective in mind after this. He recalls how Queen Echidna sternly forbade her army from needlessly murdering and torturing any humans, which was disadvantageous to her army. He wants to know why she did that and why, after suffering defeat, she decided to remain in the human world. Episode 2. The following morning, Leo awakens an exhausted Shutina early. He uses magic to unlock her door after noticing that her room is locked. Leo commands Shutina to leave her bed by impersonating Queen Echidna using voice-changing magic. Being the consummate professional that she is, Shutina quickly sits up and provides her status report despite being extremely sleepy. Leo continues to speak in Echidna's voice as he says she's overworking herself to the brim, which is why she's always tired. She should learn to assign tasks to people she can trust and stop micromanaging. He continues. Shutina finally looks up and sees that Leo is the only one talking to her while she is still in her pajamas. He expertly avoids her ice magic blasts from her. However, the attacks created a huge commotion that woke up the real Queen Echidna, who initially believed they were under attack but then noticed a massive glacier emerging from her general's room. She sympathizes with the sorcerer, assuming that Shutina is simply having a nightmare as a result of her heavy workload. Then perhaps lessen it. Just a thought, I guess. Leo avoids her blows while observing the demon army's lack of reinforcements following his incredibly destructive attack on them. They were forced to send the majority of their top brass back to the demon world to recover. Consequently, the workload was shifted to the remaining generals. Except for Shutina, no one knew all the details. Imagine it as a large corporation. Senior staff members like Shutina can manage their workload with ease, but they rarely have the time to write a manual or instruct others on how to perform tasks. The employer in this world is Queen Echidna, who wants to complete refortification as soon as possible. When you combine the two, you get a staff that is overworked and sleep-deprived. Leo advises Shutina to be kind to him because he's only there to help. After all, he has maxed out his audacity stat as well. Oh, and shouldn't she like him entering her room while she's sleeping since she's a succubus? Sweet boy, you. Following that morning's con, Leo assigned the task of mana replenishment. Shutina is the only one who can do this normally because she built the reactors, and it takes someone with the same mana wavelength as the reactor's creator to replenish it. Fortunately, Leo is a self-assured achiever who doesn't have the word impossible in his vocabulary. He assures Shutina that he will complete the task quickly and that he won't ever let her down. You'll be thinking, oh yeah, my workload is going to be so light. In 2.5 hours. Leo, you are incredible. I adore you a lot. Then you'll leap up and kiss me passionately. Leo croons before putting on his black knight armor with metamorphose. Mr. Efficient takes his time coming up with a name for his outfit, but eventually asks Shutina to give him the title assistant to the general so that people will trust him more readily. She consents to this, and before leaving, Leo decides to use Lord Godhard as his alias. He runs into a worried-looking man named Diana, who bolts away at the sight of him. The 3 remaining generals are contacted by Queen Echidna, who expresses her concerns about Shutina's peculiar behavior. She wants to assist her, but Melniz argues that doing so would only make Shutina feel more stressed. Leo returns after waiting for 30 minutes, and to better blend in, he formally greets Shutina. He reprimands Shutina for assigning him a new task after he had already completed the previous one, claiming that he is exhausted from adjusting his mana wavelength to match hers to refuel the reactors. Unfortunately, what was meant to be a brief break has grown into a significant one as he continues to put off returning to work because it has been so long since he used Metamorphose and because the demon food is so tasteless. Shutina is annoyed by hearing these. Leo is still being a jerk an hour later and resists Shutina's attempts to pull him by making himself heavy with Gravity Root. Leo continues to consider his awesome name as the overworked sorceress returns to her job. Which one, Lord Goodheart or Bloodsroth, should he choose? Perhaps something special like Black Knight Onyx would be better. I like the sound of X-Broken Knight of Deaths as a name. She is furious about being his new boss. She calmly summons her Radiant of Light, filling her hand with the piercing rays of the gods, and calls him a worthless, lazy leech of time and resources. To Leo's relief, a knock on the door interrupts them before she can chicken bone him. He admits to having lazed around for the last hour or so, but he's determined to win the generals over. And this is the first step right here. He casts Metamorphose quickly, and Dianette enters, receiving praise from Leo for a job well done. He also tells her to call him Black Knight Onyx going forward. Shutina discovers, much to her surprise, through Dianette's report that she is the one who refilled the mana reactors. Since Dianette can't match Shutina's mana, it should be impossible. She continues with her report and reveals the talisman she's wearing. From this point on, Leo takes over and explains how he obtained an amethyst from a goblin goldsmith, and then filled it with mana tuned to Shutina's wavelength. This makes it possible for anyone carrying it to permanently attune to Shutina's mana. He then went looking for Dianette, gave her the talisman, and told her to put together a team of 4 people who could handle the replenishment duty, something Shutina has been working on independently. For a long time, the younger sorcerer has been concerned about Shutina's well-being and has wanted to assist. She is now able to lessen the general's workload thanks to Leo's clever delegation and leadership. Shutina thanked Dianette with tears in her eyes for her care and diligence. Shutina only needs to trust her staff members now and pay attention to their reports. If something goes wrong, she should only get involved. She would have hurried to check on Dianette out of worry if Leo had told her about his plan earlier. Leo is criticized nonetheless for being lazy while Dianette was performing his duties. He then creates a fresh task list with the priorities already set. He carried out this action as he watched Shutina perform Civic. Delegating tasks is the last thing our busybody needs to do. She sincerely apologizes for misjudging him and expresses her gratitude and admiration. She expresses excitement about working with the Black Knight now that she has witnessed his zeal and tenacity for the task. Leo, ever the cunning one, recalls what he said after she gave him the assignment. Since he did such an excellent job, he joyfully requests a big kiss on the cheek or lips. When he suggests that they could even do it in bed, Shutina gives him another power relapse. Leo may be pervy and conceited, but he certainly has a sense of when and how to carry out a task properly. For more anime recaps,